we have a very, very bad New York Yankees ball club. There's just no other way to put it but that. The Yankees get swept at the stadium by the Red Sox, and I don't even know where to begin. So, like we said, this is a very big week, kind of a measuring stick for what was to come. And the Yankees go 2-5. They split the 4 with the Rays, which, like I said at the time, was almost an accomplishment just because they hadn't really been playing well and they won a couple of close games. And a lot of the losses have been close as well. But forgetting about all that, this is just a team that, as currently constituted, is going nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. And they had played so well against the Red Sox over the years, especially at the stadium. I think that they had an 11-game winning streak. And this was like the first, it had been like around a decade since the Yankees had been swept by the Sox, I believe, at home. Just totally awful. Just going to start free-flowing here, coming off this tough loss. Like DJ LeMahieu, not that things won't improve, but this has been a disaster. The beginning of the 6-year contract for LeMahieu has been an abject, complete nightmare. Because, look, this was an MVP candidate, top 5 MVP candidate the first 2 seasons. And you knew that that was going to be unrealistic to stay that way. But he has fallen off a cliff. And this is coming from someone who's a huge LeMahieu fan. If he doesn't turn it around, they're going nowhere. And it begs the question, and there are so many problems with this offense. I don't think Yankee fans want to hear this. I think it's something that they're trying to kind of just push to the side. But when do we say DJ LeMahieu shouldn't be batting leadoff anymore? I think that should be on the table. Now, who would be the alternative? I'm not sure. Look, they've tried fucking Luke Voigt at leadoff. So to go with Aaron Judge in that leadoff hole is not that crazy. It's just something that comes to mind, and I've loved LeMahieu. I was an advocate of bringing him back, and I still believe in that. And the contract itself, money-wise, wasn't that crazy. The 6 years isn't ideal, certainly right now. But, man, I really just think that if you moved him down in the order, that could be something that would be an eye-opener to the ball club, and I think could get him going as well. That's one thing right there. He has been horrible. There's just no other way to put it. He has no extra base hits in his last 60 to 70 at-bats. He's been stuck on 3 home runs and 14 RBIs for a while. I think his slugging percentage is worse than Tyler Wade. It's been a joke. Also, Giancarlo Stanton, what the fuck is going on here? Seriously, what is going on? He plays fucking DH. And he's been shit since he's been back. All he's doing is fucking walking from the plate back to the dugout. He's not even moving, and he couldn't even play 3 games in this series. They said, yeah, he was likely going to play all 3. No, he only played the first 2. What is going on there? Not to mention, off day tomorrow. Tomorrow being Monday. Off day Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday is at the Phillies, which have no DH, so he won't even be playing all of next weekend, and then there's an off day next Monday. So something is clearly wrong there, and I guess it wouldn't surprise you if all of a sudden, not even retroactive, Yankees plays Giancarlo Stanton on the IL, right? I guess that's coming next. And then also, whenever Stanton doesn't play, Judge DHs, which hurts the defense. And it's funny because they'll play Judge in center field, which I'm fine with. And on the flip side, DH him whenever they can. And look, Judge has been one of the true bright spots. He has been awesome. So whatever they're doing, it's working. But that's a joke too. Judge DHs a lot. The starting pitching has been a little worse. But that is so far down on the list of what is bad. I mean, this defense is terrible. Seriously, what the fuck? This defense is so bad. The corner outfield spots, I mean, with Andujar and Frazier, you never know what you're going to get. And even just beyond that, Glaber has been spotty at points on the defensive side. And, you have that right side where LeMahieu is dependable for the most part. We'll get into something in this series. But, Odor, you don't really know what you're going to get. Or, Chris Gittens gets called up in this series, makes his major league debut, does nothing. Was kind of like I think fans were hoping that he'd be like a savior, like a Shelley Duncan type of character that kind of comes in and in the first 2 games did nothing. But yeah, just really bad. Just bad brand of baseball. It's kind of amazing that they're 31-29, as bad as it's been, that they're actually above 500. But yeah, changes need to be made. I don't know what, I don't know how, but it needs to happen because, like I said, this was a big week, and kind of unsurprisingly, they did terrible. And so now they have an 8-game road trip, 3 at the Twins, 2 at the Phillies, and then 3 in Buffalo against Toronto. So we'll see how that goes. So let's jump into this. So the first game was former Yankee, and we'll see some more former Yankees coming in this Twins series, pitchers-wise, was Nate Eovaldi versus Michael King. And Michael King, the line ends up being okay. My problem with him is I just don't think that I don't trust him when the score is close. Like, if you're losing and you need that innings eater, and he can kind of be like that, like a multiple inning weapon type of guy. I like him, but like as a starter, I don't love it. Here's the thing, though. Because the Yankees have so many off days moving forward, the Yankees aren't even going to need a 5th starter. So King's role is going to be kind of back to that swing guy coming out of the pen. So in this one, it starts early in the first. Verdugo gets a 1-out single. JD Martinez lines out. So JD Martinez only played the first. So the Yankees got swept, and JD Martinez only played the first game. So he didn't even matter. Bogarts gets a single. You got first and second, 2 outs for the dangerous Rafael Devers. And oh boy, was he dangerous in this series, as was a lot of the Red Sox. But Devers on an 0-2 pitch, just right down the middle, 3-run homer Devers, just terrible. Like, I don't know. With Hunter Renfroe on deck, who's a righty, 0-2 pitch, like just give him your best stuff. And I just saw that too often in this series and in general, where the Yankees are they got to be a little bit. I know you don't want to walk players and this and that, but yeah, just awful. Like really bad taste in your mouth just to start the series. Devers 3-run bomb to get it going. And then the double play. And that reminds me, double plays. Yankees have the most double plays in baseball. The Yankees statistically are just dreadful in almost all offensive categories. And Boone, after this game, was like, yeah, the good teams hit double plays. Well, right? And I'm not sure if he said good or great teams. Either way, it's like, you sound dumb. Like, yes, there is truth to that. But yeah, the Yankees have the double play recipe. Fucking no speed and no situational hitting. Yeah, they're going to get a lot of double plays when you fucking do that. So Judge grounds a double play, and then Gio lines out. So what could have been a big inning is not. And then King settles down as the Red Sox don't score on the second. They actually don't score until the 6th. It's long story short, it scores until the 6th. And Eovaldi is basically settling in. Here's the key of this game. Forgetting about kind of inning by inning, the top of the lineup, 1 through 5, when you look at the box score, did well. 6 through 9, Odor, Frazier, Sanchez, Gardner. 0 for 15 with 10 strikeouts. Odor, 2 strikeouts. Frazier, 2 strikeouts. Sanchez, 4. 4 strikeouts for Sanchez, and then Gardner, 2. So the bottom of the order completely killed him. And so Odor in that 4th pops out in a fairly decent big spot. So yeah, we move to the top of the 6th where with 1 out, Bogart singles, and that would be all for Michael King. Lucas Licky comes on, and Licky struggled in this series. Licky, the 16 and a third scoreless innings, wherever it had been, maybe it reached 17, is now over. And it ended right away where he gets Devers to line out, but then Renfroe singles, and then someone who is a major thorn in Licky's side this series, Marwin Gonzalez, and just in general, Marwin Gonzalez gets a big 2-run double. So it's 5-0 Red Sox. So game is over, right? Obviously, the Yankees are now 0-18. When the opponent scores 5 or more runs, they're the only team that has no wins when they've given up at least 5 runs, meaning the Yankees can't even win like a 6-5 game. It's pathetic. So Marwin Gonzalez gets that 2-run double. So one of those runs is charged to King, one of them charged to Licky. So the Yankees would respond in the bottom of the sixth as LeMahieu, as he does, gets a single. It's basically all you're going to get from him. So it's a single, and then you get the double play. Stanton double play. That's how it goes in Yankee land. Then, of course, Aaron Judge hits his 14th homer. So, again, what could have been a big inning is not. So Judge continues to do what he does, gets that home run. Then Gio singles. Then Torres singles. Then Odor reaches on an error by first baseman Marlon Gonzalez. Gio scores. And so it's first and third, and then Clint Frazier flies out. And Clint, he's just not been good. And that's what's disappointing is that Clint Frazier is someone who I've liked. I've had high hopes for, just simply not getting it done. He had some moments this week against Tampa, the walk-off home or another clutch hit. It's just not been good enough for Clint Frazier. Not even close. Licky pitches the seventh, scoreless. Then they bring in Sawamura for Eovaldi, and he strikes out the side in the seventh. Sanchez, Gardner, and LeMahieu. And then Nestor Cortez would come on to pitch the eighth and ninth, does his job, and in the bottom of the eighth, Sawamura, after a leadoff walk to Stanton, gets Judge striking out looking, Gio strikes out swinging, and then Torres pops out. So Sawamura does a great job. Matt Barnes comes in for the save of the ninth, and he strikes at the side. Odor, Frazier, Sanchez. The Yankees leave to a bunch of boos. This was like the most nondescript game of the three, so I want to just kind of move through that one. They lose 5-2. We move to game two. This one would be between Eduardo Rodriguez, who has struggled this year, against Jameson Taillon. Chris Gittens makes his debut, which is exciting for him. He would start at first and bat sixth. Judge would start in center field. Just some housekeeping, I guess. Sanchez would start at catcher for each game, deservedly so, honestly. Even coming off the fact that I just told you that he struck out 4 times. That's how bad Kyle Higashioka has been. But in this one, the Yankees would draw first blood. I mean, Taillon pitched pretty well. In the third, they get a 2-out rally as Frazier and LeMahieu single, and then Giancarlo Stanton strikes out. And Stan, it's been a disaster since he's returned. Total disaster. And then in the bottom of the fourth. So with 1 out, Gio singles, and then Gleyber Torres hits a 2-run home run. Good to see his 3rd homer of the year. Very, very light, but still. Got into that one, and that made it 2-0 for the Yanks. And then Taillon pitches a great 5th. And the Yankees still only have those 2 runs, but in the 6th is where things start to get interesting. And Taillon, through 2 plate appearances, he's good. But then once he gets to that 3rd, that's when he runs into trouble. And it happened a little bit here. And the Yankees had the full complement of bullpen guys ready. Santana flies out to start. Good. Then, unfortunately, on an 0-2 pitch, never like that, Verdugo gets a single. Then, Xander Bogaerts hits a deep fly on another 0-2 pitch. So Taillon, they got to have the quick hook with Taillon. That's first and foremost. You just need to. It was a great 5 innings of scoreless ball. And the outings always kind of end a little bit rocky for him. And I think Taillon, he's a serviceable enough back-end guy, I think. Like, he's certainly better than the Kings and, like, the David Garcias of the world as he is now, Garcia speaking. That is. But, so Bogaerts hits a deep fly ball to the left. And this is a ball that any normal outfielder makes. They make the play. But Andujar is just, he's been all right out there, considering that he's not an outfielder. It's a double for Bogaerts and on a makeable play. So now it's second and third. And this is where you have a base open and Rafael Devers is up. Loizaga is warming up. So a couple of things here. Taillon could have been out by now. That's first. He honestly should have been. Boone even admitted that he wasn't, that he was considering taking him out. Then what makes things worse, it's 3-0 on Devers. Just fucking walk him. Seriously, this team does not like to do that. Then it's a fool's gold situation, and I'm going to talk about another fool's gold situation in the next game, but it then becomes a full count. So it's like, I wouldn't have minded if you just walked him. It's a full count, and what do you know? Rafael Devers, 2-run single. Taillon, just don't give him a good pitch. It's simple. I don't get it. So Devers, big 2-run single, and so it's 2-2, and LeMahieu comes in, who then gives up an infield single to Hunter Renfroe, and then it's that guy again. It's the Devers Marwin Gonzalez combination. Is Marwin Gonzalez gets an RBI double. Luckily, LeMahieu, so that makes it 3-2. Luckily, LeMahieu escapes further damage, so he holds it at 3-2, and the Yankees actually tied up in the bottom of the sixth. As Rodriguez, with one out, walks Judge, and then Gio hits Gio steady. That's what he is. Gio hits a ground rule double. So it's second and third, and Garrett Whitlock, the former Yankee farmhand, who the Red Sox acquired in the Rule 5 draft this offseason, comes in to replace Rodriguez, and Torres hits a sac fly. It was a deep fly to right, in foul territory. Renfroe had to catch it. He did, and Judge scored easily. It's tied up. Then Chris Gittens struck out. So Gittens just not really doing much of anything, unfortunately. And so it's 3-3. LeMahieu gets into some trouble in the seventh, as with one out, Santana singles, he 4-pitch walks Verdugo, and then Bogaerts hits a smash at Gio, gets that out, and they double off Santana. So a little lucky there for LeMahieu, but you'll take it. Then, in the seventh, Sanchez gets an infield. Okay, this is another thing. Sanchez gets an infield single. I mean, whatever. It was a well-hit single. They pinch run Wade for Sanchez with one out. Maybe you want to have Wade run? I don't know. Make things happen? Just a thought, especially because this team hits a lot of double plays. Oh, what do they do next? Oh, you guessed it. Double play. Clint Frazier, ground ball double play, 6-4-3, out of the inning. We move to the top of the eighth. Chad Green comes in. And I'll say this, Chad Green lately has not been good, even though the numbers may not have indicated that. He's been getting hit hard, and I think it'll be good once Zach Britton returns to move someone like Chad Green a little bit further down in that pecking order. I don't love him as the eighth inning guy. As good as he is, he's definitely much better suited in that sixth, seventh inning role. And then I think you can use LeMahieu a little bit differently as well. So Britton coming back will be big for this bullpen. Of note, Gardner replaces Andujar in a tie game in the eighth. We've seen them do that in the past. You kind of wish they did that in the sixth when Andujar made the mistake, but they do it now. It doesn't come back to bite them like from this point on, but I guess you kind of would have liked to have done that in the sixth inning. It's Green, who gives up a leadoff single to Devers, but then he gets Renfroe to strike out and Marwin Gonzalez to pop out. Now, here's the ironic thing, and this is why Alex Cora is a much better manager than Aaron Boone. They have Devers running, and then Kike Hernandez gets an RBI double down the line. If Devers is not on the move, at best for Boston, he barely makes it safe on a close play at the plate. But because he went, he easily scores. So Kike Hernandez, RBI double. So where Devers does run, Wade doesn't, and there's your difference. Again, I don't know what Boone is doing over there, but it's nothing good. And his press conferences are pretty laughable at this point. But it doesn't stop there for Chad Green. It's an RBI double for Christian Vasquez. And this one was kind of like it was a little lucky, like kind of down the first baseline RBI double. He probably should have been out at that point. Honestly, he'd been throwing a lot of pitches. You want to kind of save him for next game? Possibly. Maybe the damage was already done in that sense. But then Bobby Dahlback just hits an absolute monster 2-run home run to make it 7-3. So there's ball game, right? So like where Marwin Gonzalez gets that 2-run double off the Licky in the first game, and I said ball game. Yeah, this is ball game right here. They ain't coming back from this. 7-3. And then Wandy Peralta comes in, gets the last out of the eighth. So bad job by Chad Green. Then former Yankee Adam Ottavino gets a 1-2-3 eighth, pitches a 1-2-3 eighth inning. And then in the ninth, Brooks Kriske pitches a scoreless ninth inning. And then they bring in Brandon Workman in the bottom of the ninth in a 7-3 game. And with 2 outs, Gittens walks, Gardner walks. And so they bring in Matt Barnes. Kyle Higashioka is up as Gary Sanchez had been pinch run with Tyler Wade. So Higashioka comes in and strikes out. He was ahead 2-0 on the count, strikes out. They weren't going to come back anyway, but he's been really bad at the plate lately, and so Boston wins 7-3. Pretty bad loss. They kind of had it in the bullpen, partially the bullpen. The bullpen let it get away Bad fielding let it get away. No clutch hitting. Bad managerial decisions. Everything. So now we move to the final game. And this one was a starting pitching matchup of Garrett Richards and Domingo Germán. So in this one, no Stanton, which is not surprising, but also just ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Gittins gets another start against the righty. I wasn't sure if he would. I wasn't sure if maybe Odor was going to get the start, but they go with Gittins. In the top of the first, right away, Alex Verdugo homers off of Germán. And that's the one thing about Germán. And I think Germán, certainly with no Kluber, Germán is that number 2 behind Cole. The one thing I will say about Germán, though, is the home run ball is not good. I think that was his 12th home run that he has allowed this year. So I think he gives up a lot of solo home runs. You can live with it because he doesn't really make many other mistakes, but that is something of note. So Verdugo homers, makes it 1-0. Bottom of the first, LeMahieu strikes out to start it off. Then Judge singles, Torres singles, Gio singles. Bases loaded, and Gary Sanchez gets a 2-run double. And look, Sanchez kind of deserved. He batted 5th tonight with no Stanton in the lineup. He deserves to bat no lower than 6. More to do with the fact that the rest of the guys are just garbage. But look, Sanchez has been all right. I mean, he's batting above 200, which is kind of a surprise for me. So 2-1, but then 2-1, second and third one out. Chance for a big inning. Chris Gittins strikes out. Clint Frazier strikes out. Yeah, not good. Germán totally settles down, and he's throwing up zeros. Then in the third, leadoff single Judge, double play Glaber. You see that a lot with this team. Tons of double plays. Then Gio singles, and then Sanchez singles. So what could have been a huge inning is not, and then Chris Gittins strikes out looking. So a bad night for Gittins. Then in the bottom of the fourth, with the Yanks up 2-1, with 1 out, Andujar singles, then Gardner walks, then LeMahieu walks. So bases loaded, 1 out, and Judge gets a ground out that gets a run in. They get the force out at seconds, and so it's then 3-1. So since Judge was up, you kind of wanted more, but at the same time, we could have easily struck out or hit a double play, so you take it. They go up 3-1, and then Glaber grounds out, so that's it. So, again, what could have also been a really big inning only ends up with 1. Yanks are up 3-1. We move to the top of the 6th. And with 2 outs, it's a 4-pitch walk to Xander Bogaerts, which is too bad because Germán's pitch count was reasonable. He was at about 84 pitches. They bring in Lucas Licky, which I said it at the time, I liked bringing him in for Devers, but I also knew with likely no Loaizaga and likely no Green, which ended up being true, they were not available, it was going to be kind of tough to navigate through to get it to Chapman. So that was my concern. And Licky, after a wild pitch, which moved Bogaerts to second, would get Rafael Devers to strike out looking. It was a close call. Honestly, that at bat could have continued, but it was called strike 3, and so Licky gets out of that. Then in the 6th, Darwinzon Hernandez replaces Garrett Richards. And for Garrett Richards, it was definitely like a bend but don't break type outing, which is kind of what he's done all year. Frazier gets the leadoff walk, and then Andujar hits a double play. And my God, it wouldn't stop there. Miguel Andujar, when there's been runners on, when there's been runners in scoring position, has done absolutely nothing. Nothing. And again, I like Andujar. He's done shit. Like, he's the king, kind of like LeMahieu, getting that single when no one's on base, but when there's runners on, it's going to be bad. Really bad. And so then Gardner walks, and then LeMahieu strikes out looking. At this stage, it is 3-1. We move to the top of the 7th. Leadoff 4-pitch walk, Hunter Renfroe to lead up the inning. You never want to do that, especially since Marlon Gonzalez is on deck and had been 3 for 3 lifetime, and with that 2-run double earlier in the series against Licky, what do you know? 2-run homer against Marlon Gonzalez, tied up at 3. Just awful. He finishes the 7th. He gets the 3 outs. Then Adam Ottavino comes in. Leadoff walk to Judge, which is kind of an Ottavino special, but back-to-back nights, they don't score against him. Nothing else happened the rest of the inning. Top of the 8th. Wandy Peralta comes in, and Christian Arroyo pinch hits for Danny Santana. Arroyo, off Peralta, hits a medium pop to right, and there's 2 people to blame here. First, they call it a double, DJ LeMahieu got under that. He could have caught that ball. He could have absolutely caught that ball. No question about that. But who also deserves blame is Clint Frazier. That is the right fielder's ball in general. You got to take charge and get that. Too many times, Clint Frazier, he makes these circus catches because he's out of position to begin with. Like, let's not be fooled here. Clint Frazier is just simply not a good outfielder. That's just the sad truth. He's not. And Aaron Judge should be playing right field, but he's going to DH again because that's what the Yankees do. Bad job by LeMahieu, bad job by Frazier, and then what do you know? Fundamental baseball by Boston. Alex Verdugo grounds out to second, moves Arroyo over to third, and then Xander Bogaerts. So it's runner on third, one out, and it's a fool's gold situation again where they get ahead in the count 0-2 on Bogaerts. My initial thought was walk him and then either have Peralta face the lefty Devers or bring Chapman in to face Devers, who I know Devers has homered off Chapman in the past. But Bogaerts, the 0-2 pitch was good. It was in the dirt. Keep on throwing him stuff out of the zone. The next pitch was not a strike, but with Bogaerts, he's got that plate coverage. He's going to hit that easily. Easy sac fly. So you get the mistake by the Yanks, ground out, moves the guy over, sac fly, and that's how you play baseball. 4-3, Boston. Bottom of the eighth, Josh Taylor comes in. So this is how much they don't even respect the Yankees righties. They bring in Josh Taylor, who's like a low-leverage lefty, and he gets Gittins to ground out. Frazier singles, then Andujar strikes out, and then you have pinch hitter Giancarlo Stanton. So he can pinch hit, and what does he do? Quickly goes down, strikes out swinging as he pinch hit for Gardner. And so, yeah, again, total mess when it comes to Stanton. No surprise. So Chapman comes in the ninth, gets into some trouble early as Renfroe gets lead up double, but gets out of it. Gets out of that, so it's 4-3 heading to the ninth. Matt Barnes comes in, pitches his third straight day. LeMahieu grounds out to start the inning. You know, DJ LeMahieu, who you need to, let's go, down one in the ninth, he grounds out. Aaron Judge walks, and you know what? This was a smart move by Barnes. Judge is the one guy that can really hurt you. He walks him, but on an 0-2 pitch, Barnes hangs one to Glaber, who gets an RBI double. Scores Judge, big hit for Glaber, and he's had a knack for that this year. Glaber's one of the better hitters. Has it been a good season for him? No, it hasn't been. But he has come through in some big spots. That's a big RBI double there. Then Gio with the bad at-bat. He strikes out on a bad pitch and, with a chance to maybe win the game. Then they intentionally walk Gary Sanchez. And what happens is Rougned Odor pinch hits for Chris Gittins. During that at-bat, Torres steals third. So it's first and third, Rougned Odor, full count, and a pitch that is clearly outside is called strike three. Eventually, Phil Nevin gets tossed at that point. Later on, Carlos Mendoza got tossed, even though it looked like Marcus Thames was. This all happens in the top of the 10th, by the way. I'll get to that. We need robot umps. Can we stop with this already? Can we stop with this? These umpires are horrible across baseball. This isn't just a Yankee thing. And this Odor strikeout should not supersede the bad Yankees. There's no excuses here. The Yankees suck. Flat out. So that should not. This is going to be a big talking point. I know it, and it kind of annoys me that it will. But the bigger issue here is we need robot umps. Come on already. Let's get with the program. It's a different strike zone every night, and they're very, very pro pitcher this year. Those outside pitchers are being called strikes a ton. So that had everyone up in an uproar. Nevin gets tossed right then and there, I think. Yes, he was. They bring on Luis Sessa, someone who I like, who I think has been underutilized, and unfortunately, he almost fully gets the job done, but then doesn't. And the key to that was Bobby Dahlbeck. He walks, and the full count pitch was close. It was a ball, but it hurts coming off of the Odor one was absolutely not nearly as close as this Dahlbeck one was. They were both balls, but the Odor one was egregious. That should have been ball 4. This one was close. They called ball 4 to Dahlbeck, and at that point, they eject Carlos Mendoza, but they would show Marcus Thames was pissed. So Thames, who honestly is his job kind of at risk, just kind of a side note, Marcus Thames, got to think. Not that that's going to change anything, but could he be in danger of losing his job? So it's first and second. Then fundamental baseball for Boston. Christian Arroyo gets a sac bunt, second and third. And then Alex Verdugo doesn't get the job done. Sessa gets the ground out of Verdugo on a 2-1 pitch to Bogart. So keep in mind, it's second and third, 2 outs. And I always say, although with the Yankees, well, actually, it did come into play here. You only want to give up that 1 run if you can. Like, 1 run is tolerable to give up in the top half an inning. And Bogarts, with Devers on deck, you kind of had to go after Bogarts. And Sessa on a 2-1 just leaves it up there, and it's a 2-run single. Not a good pitch by Sessa. Bogarts smacks it, 2-run single, and so it's a 6-4 Boston lead. We go to the bottom of the 10th, 6-4. They bring in Phillips Valdez to replace Matt Barnes. Clint Frazier gets hit by a pitch, which is exactly what they needed. Tying runs are on, first and second, no outs. And who's up? Miguel Andujar. Yeah. What do you think happens? Yeah, you guessed it. Double play. This one back to the pitcher. Totally kills the inning. I don't get it. I don't get it. And Andujar, it is frustrating. No one talks about these things, and I get it, but he's been just, and I like the guy. He's been brutal with runners in scoring position. Just absolute shit. So runner on third, 2 outs, 6-4. Tyler Wade hits a slow, and keep in mind, Wade came in because Stanton pitch hit for Gardner, so Wade took that spot. Wade singles, little tapper to Gonzalez, and so Odor scores, and he throws it away. So Wade moves to second. So you got the speedy Wade on second, 2 outs. So the time runs on second, 6-5, and who comes to the plate? DJ LeMahieu. He grounds out and ends the game. LeMahieu is a shell of his former self. He is. It's amazing. It really is. He's batting now .253, which for him is ridiculous, with a .656 OPS. .656. That is bad. 0 for 5 tonight. We're gonna start here. We're gonna start hearing about it. That has been something that hasn't been spoken of, and maybe it didn't deserve to be spoken of until now. He needs to be better. Bogarts, Devers, Martinez, who didn't even play, Verdugo, that core is so much better. You have Judge, who's been awesome. And then, you like what Gio brings, and Glaber shows flashes at times, but my God, that core for Boston is so much better than the Yankees core. Offensively, it's not even close. So, yeah. Here we go. Yankees heading to Minnesota, and let's just give a quick rundown of the pitching matchups, and it features a couple of former Yankees. The first game will be Jordan Montgomery against Michael Pineda, and Pineda's been pretty good this year. Pineda's been battling some injuries. He's been a little on and off, but Pineda, who the Yankees have had a modicum of success against since, I think they've faced him maybe once or twice since he went to the Twins, but Montgomery versus Pineda, that could go either way. And keep in mind, this is a 24-35 Twin team who the Yankees always do well against. So if they do poorly against the Twins, that is telling. Very telling. Game 2 is going to be Garrett Cole coming off of a not-so-great outing against Randy Dobnak, who he's been terrible this year. And he also was bad against the Yankees in the playoffs. I think he was I'm pretty sure he was the Uber driver that everyone was making fun of. But that's it. Again, Cole versus Dobnak, gotta win that one. And then that leads that to the last one, which is listed as TBD, although you have to think that it should be Tyone. I would have to think, if it's not Tyone, come on. I hope it is. We'll see. Tyone versus J Happ. J Happ has been brutal lately. Terrible. First start against the Yanks since he left. And obviously there was that whole it was bad blood between Brian Cashman and J Happ. So interesting with Pineda and more so with Happ. This is a series the Yankees, look, they've been awful. So I'm not going to, logically speaking, they should win this series for sure. If they don't, it just continues. It snowballs. So the Yankees had that undefeated series streak. Now it's been winless in the last 4 series. So now they head to Minnesota. We'll see what happens, but things are getting awfully interesting with the Yankees, and now they're going to hit the road.